One. What is up, Shark Nation? We are back. It is 2021. I've got my brother in arms out there in Glenageary, Mark Baker, Marky B. How's it going?
Good. Happy New Year.
Happy effing New Year. We're gonna really get after it this year. I'm super excited. The whole 2020 negativity, the 2020 warranted negativity, it's all behind us, even though it seems that the COVID is worse than ever right now at the beginning of January. I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing at those people that are sick or something, but I'm just saying we all thought that it was a 2020 thing, but it doesn't have any time thing, so it doesn't have any time.
I never believed in that, seeing the back of a year. I always thought that was very silly. If that's a way that you can cope with moving on and drawing a line under things, I think fair enough. But I never understood that whole, good riddance to 2018.
Yeah, because you only get a certain amount of years, so you better enjoy them the best you can. That's what I think. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about goals, but not only talk about goals, we're going to talk about frameworks. I'm going to kind of pitch some different frameworks at you. We're going through some of the goals that we have. I've come up with my own framework because I couldn't really find the ones that were nailing it. I do have the Dreamline one set up here that I'd like to kind of pick your brain on, because there's some questions there that I don't really know about you. So I'm going to try to dig in behind the scenes. We've also got Cuba Gooding Jr. Going to kind of lead us out.
Is he dialing in?
I'm going to dial in. I've got him on the roadcaster here. So let me just see. Cuba, are you there?
Quan. That's your word?
Hell yeah, that's my word. Some dudes might have the coin, but they'll never have the quan.
What is?
It means love, respect, community, and the dollars too. The entire package, though. Quan. Great word.
That was Cuba letting us know about the Quan, and that's what we're talking about here today. We're talking about not just the business goals. We're talking about having the money, having the family, having the kind of happiness, the day-to-day stuff, and that's what we're really focusing on. I think when I was starting out in my 20s in my career, all my goals are really tied to how I'm going to do business-wise or what I'm going to do sales-wise and stuff like that. And I think that's a recipe for disaster, if you ask me, because a lot of that stuff you can't really control. You say, okay, my goal is to become this or to get this promotion or something. Someone else is kind of pulling the strings on that, or you don't know if they might be hiring their friend for that. Or if you're in sales, you might say, I want to sell $1 million in pro services or whatever. And, a lot of that is kind of up in the air. Even if you set a really high goal for yourself, that's not really achievable, like a stretch goal, you kind of feel like a loser because you're not hitting those goals regularly. So I think if you want to have that quan, you want to have the whole shebang, you want to have a really diverse set of goals that you're going after. Do you know what I mean? What do you think?
Yeah, I think every decade your opinion changes on things. I'm sure we'll say something different when we're 50, but when you're in your teens and late 20s or mid 20s, you are kind of thinking about the money, the career, the yachts.
No, sorry, not the quad. It's all yachts. I was going to live in Monaco at some stage.
But that's usually because you've nothing else to worry about. So once you start getting the family together, assets or whatever, then you start having other things that you have to look after, and you realize, if you have to get rid of one of them, it would certainly be the yacht.
Okay, so exactly. So it's not the goals kind of. And remember, a lot of the yacht stuff is about what other people think. I mean, if you want to go out on it doesn't have to be a yacht.
Maybe that's a primal thing. You're kind of, to go back to the kind of primal times, you're kind of trying to show off, and you really care what other people think of you. And then all of a sudden, I don't know when it is, I don't know, maybe it was 30 for you, or very recently you'd be thinking, like, you don't actually care what people think of you anymore. And it's what your family think, what your kids, how they see you. Your wife, husband, whatever it may be.
All that type of stuff, exactly. So today we're actually going to go through at least 3 different type of frameworks. The first one that we have set up here is from our old friend Toney Robbins. If you look back on 2020, loads and loads of entrepreneurs, successful people, having that type of lifestyle design that we were always talking about on the SharkPod. They talk about Toney Robbins, the kind of motivational speaker, if you call him that, or life coach, or infomercial king, whatever you want to call him.
Man with giant hands.
Man with giant hands, giant head as well. Yeah, so he has his own framework for goals, which I thought was pretty interesting. It's called RPM. Hey, Mark, did you come across that in your, just generally? Have you ever heard of that?
Never heard of it. What's it stand for?
So it's results, purpose, and massive action plan. Okay, so I can tell you what it is, or T. Robbins can drop in and tell us. What do you think?
I thought it might have been revenue per minute, but maybe not.
That's the Mark Baker special. Okay, hold on there. Here we go. So he's going to explain it, and then he's going to. I'm going to have another clip of him saying kind of what makes this really important, or how to make this work in a really powerful way. Just give me 2 seconds there. Here we go.
Purpose-driven, massive action plan. That's what you want. So what are the 3 questions and the 3 actions in order if you have a plan? Tell me. First question is, what do I want? What's my outcome? What's the specific what? Result. And that's often a good way to ask that same question. Start general, what I want, turn it into an outcome, get it down to a specific result. Second question, what's my big why? What's my purpose? What's my reasons? What's my why? What's my purpose? Why do I want to do this? That's the real question. Why do I want to do this? Very different to want to than to have to, isn't it? Now, what's my massive action plan? What do I need to do? How many got this in your body by repetition now? Say I. What are the 3 actions? Number 1, we want to figure out which ones are our what? Must. 20% that makes 80% of the difference, asterisk those. Those are your priorities. You're not going to do them all. Just decide you're not going to do them all. Let go, be free. 2, figure out minimum, maximum time for them. Estimate, just off the top of your head. 3 minutes to 10 minutes. 45 minutes to 90 minutes. Give yourself the range. On the computer, by the way, it adds it all up and you can look at a block.
So what we're looking at there is, I think it's really interesting because he's saying, okay, what do we want to have as an outcome? A lot of people, when they're making their goals for the year, they're saying, okay, I want to make an extra 20 grand this year. That's the outcome. And then that's kind of where it stops. I'm going to try to aim for that. I'm trying to get there if I can. And what he's saying is you have to figure out the why, because that's going to be the juice. That's going to be the petrol that you throw on that. Do you know what I mean? So we'll talk about some goals that we're going to try to achieve this year at the end, but we'll try to say, maybe we can push each other to say kind of, why would you want to do that? What's the why behind that? Because that's the one that gives you what he says, the juice. Do you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And then the massive action plan. So when he's talking about the massive action plan, he's usually talking about making a decision to commit to something in the future as a scheduled item rather than blocking time. So he actually talks about that here. Here we go.
Some of the stuff is scheduled. Like I have to do this at 3:00 today. So you lock that in your schedule. You put in what we call the big rocks first. Some of you know this metaphor. If I take a glass over here and I take this glass and I start to see if I got a glass over here, show you what I mean. Yeah. So as soon as I take this glass over here and it's already this full, and then I start adding items to it, how long before this thing's going to overflow? But if this was empty and I first take the big items, the rocks of my life, the things that I have to do that I've scheduled, they go in first, a couple rocks. And then secondarily, I commit to some block time for some things that matter to me. Like I'm going to block some time here with my team between 2 and 3:30 every single Thursday, where we're going to go through one of these 7 items.
Can you see what he's trying to say there, Mark? He's trying to say, like, we need to schedule these things rather than just have goals where we don't have any kind of the next step. So we can so if you've gone that far to actually have a goal that you want to achieve, say make 20 extra thousand or 50,000, whatever, and you say, okay, I'm going to do that by selling this many t-shirts. Okay, I've got to sell this many t-shirts. I'll need to have 10 designs made. Okay, I'm going to make those 10 designs on 2:30, 2 weeks from now, on Thursday. I think that's something that no one does with their goals, like schedules time. They might block time. Block time for me, if I look at a lot of the salespeople I work with, they block 2 hours for quote unquote prospecting, but they'll book shit over that. They don't care.
Yeah.
That's not real, right? If they say that's not blocked for for prospecting, I've got a scheduled task list I've got to do then. So I've got to call these 10 people that I've talked to before. And these is exactly what I need to do. So scheduling rather than blocking time is an interesting thing. Do you do that when you with your team? Are you that organized?
In recruitment, it's kind of sporadic, and that's what's kind of good about working from home at the moment is you have a bit more control of your time because there's not as many interruptions, there's not as many meetings. Like if somebody, you might be talking to somebody that morning, you might meet them that evening or afternoon. So there's a lot of kind of spinning plates and moving objects in what we do because it's a people kind of business, which is fine, and I enjoy it. But yeah, no, we often, book time in the diary essentially, and just using Microsoft Outlook, and you get that reminder, and or even there's daily things that there's reminders in for, and there's weekly things and monthly things. So I do think it's a good idea to kind of have the outcome, whatever it is, reverse engineer that to the very kind of steps that are involved, bringing it right back to the very first step, inputting that into your calendar, whatever way you want to do, and then you're held accountable. Being held accountable personally is actually quite tough to do because you're your own boss in that way.
100%.
It's a lot easier because sometimes you don't want to do it, but
watching,
that's life. You know what I mean? If there was somebody watching you, just like in any other job, you'd be doing it. So yeah.
Okay, so scheduling, guys, is really important. It's going to make that the RPM system work. So to recap on RPM, we're talking about the results, the purpose, which is probably the most important thing, and the massive action plan. Some of the things that people can use, like the online, there's loads of free apps you can use for project management that will set up tasks and milestones and stuff like that. I think the more time you put into that, if you set up a reminders and that type of thing, I think that kind of adds more leverage. Anytime that you've, invested time or money or anything like that into a system to set this up makes it more real.
Yeah, I think those systems can be overcomplicated and actually take up more time in itself. So something simple, just like if you only could have access to one thing to help you with that type of thing, I'd say your Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, and just add reminders in essentially.
So it's, yeah, and I think here's, just before we move on to a different element of planning frameworks, like, why do you think people make New Year's resolutions, plans, goals, and then don't stick to them?
I think purely it comes down to accountability. They work best, and me and you have done it for years. Whenever we said we do something and it was a bit of a challenge, it's never a real challenge. Like probably would help if there was some sort of money on the line or forfeit that has to be done, but we never really need that. But yeah, having somebody else, having a kind of buddy to do that with, I think that you're way more likely than just jotting it down on a piece of paper.
I think for sure that the accountability is a big thing. I think what Toney Robbins is talking about there, the why isn't strong enough. So he talks about the musts.
It can be quite strong though. Somebody would really love to lose, let's say, 2 stone.
Yeah.
And because there's an addiction involved there, with sugar or whatever it is, they can't do it.
I think it's underrated, the addiction stuff, because over Christmas I was getting a little bit crazy on the heroes and the celebrations and stuff like that.
I hear you.
And at one stage, I was eating so much chocolate that I wasn't even tasting it anymore. Have you ever got to that point?
Yeah, I got to that point before Christmas.
It's so weird, and you're just shoving it in there, and it's. I remember, I can't remember what book I read this in. One of these self-help books that are busting out of my my library here. Before you eat something like that, remind yourself that it's not going to make you happy. And then I go, do you want, like, we were up in the Firehouse Bakery, beautiful stuff up there, and I'm trying to I'm back on the wagon after the Christmas break, and they had these cruffins. Do you know what a cruffin is, Mark?
No.
It's a croissant muffin. I never even seen them before. It was something new, like.
Only in Greystones, or is it Belgium?
Well, I'm sitting here with my San Pellegrino in Greystones. My point is, I really, really wanted one of those, but I thought to myself, is that going to make you happy? Probably not. Maybe for a minute, but it's not. It's not going to be a long-term thing. Having feeling good about your health and everything like that. That's the kind of long-term happiness. And when I'm in good shape, when I'm feeling good about that, it's happiness that's all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you take the choice out of it? You had a choice there. Taking the choice out of it is just committing to something as a lifestyle, not a fad diet. All that, just saying, right, from Monday to Friday, I don't eat. Whatever they're called.
I think I said to you once when I was hardcore, back in the day before I went on my travels, when I was really trying to get into shape for about 6 months. I remember I said to you something like, "That's not food to me." You tried to offer me something, and I was like, "That's not my food. I don't eat that." Like, it's like a dog. They don't eat chocolate either.
Yeah, but it sounds like, oh Jesus, live a little. That's no way to live. But you can actually have lots of nice stuff that just isn't, cronuts or whatever they're called.
It's a cruffin, Mark, but I see where your point is. I see where you're coming from.
And then on the weekends, that's when you can have whatever you want. I just found that to be the best.
Absolutely, and I kind of worked that into my goals later on this thing as well that you'll see. Okay, so the second kind of framework that I want to go in here is we're going to dust off our old friend Tim Ferriss on this one, and it's the dreamlining from the 4-hour work week. We've talked about we did a whole episode on the 4-hour work week during 2020. So if anyone wants to dig in there, actually read the book. I think it's definitely worth a read. But there is an element in there called dreamlining, and I've got some of I guess the basic thing here is to show. Okay, come up with what the lifestyle that you want. So it's goal setting, but it's goal setting in a lifestyle design context. And basically, we're going to do a lifestyle costing. We're going to say how much this is going to cost, and then we're going to put in a plan to get that type of money so you can go and do whatever you want, right? But it's an interesting exercise as well, just as the questions that it asks, even if you don't go as far as costing it out, committing to building a Muse business that's automated income. If you just take the first step, I think that's an interesting process to go through. And there's a couple of these questions here that I really wanted to ask Mark, because I don't know where his head's at with some of these. Okay. So I don't know if I know I sent you over kind of the plan for today, but if you haven't looked at this, I'm going to ask you some of these questions. Okay. So dreamlining, these are the basically Tim Ferriss is telling you can do this in 6 months, or 12 months. These are the things that we need to cost, all that type of stuff. But Mark Baker, I'm going to ask you these. Okay, so what one place you'd like to visit?
Now, is this excluding COVID right now?
It's gonna apparently they got the vaccine to everybody tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. Look, let's say post June 2020, 2021. One place I'd love to visit, and is that like just the first place that comes to my head, or somewhere where I've never been and it's on our list?
Somewhere where you've never been. That the first place, if I told you, Mark, you and the family, or you and Kim, me and Katie, watch the kids or whatever, where do you want to go?
It would probably be, the kind of Route 66 in America with the kids and Kim.
Class. That'd be a great thing to do. You could do that this year, I think, when things settle down. But I knew it was going to be America. But okay, cool.
But that's the first thing that came to my head. But there's loads of little trips like that around America. Those kind of trips is like, I'm not overly keen on, going to Asia or anything just yet. But although Layla wants to go to live in Japan, so we'd have to go there at some stage.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to Route 66. Okay, one thing to do before you die. So a lifetime thing.
One thing to do.
Yeah, to do. So I'll give you some examples. Bungee jumping. I don't see you jumping off a bridge anytime soon.
No, the risk reward isn't good enough there. The reward isn't too good enough.
What about other people would say running with the bulls in Pamplona? I don't know. What do you think would be one thing that you'd love to do?
Just me, just selfish, just personal.
It's all about you.
Okay. I'd love to own my own gallery.
Wow.
And like just my work, and not have to worry about selling other people's work or anything like that.
It's amazing. Again, you could probably do that there's going to be a lot of retail, let me tell you, up for grabs this year.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something that you could put in your goals as well.
I don't know if that's big. Is that big enough? Oh, look, I'd love to exhibit in. I always had like dreams of exhibiting in Las Vegas, UFC fight week and all that kind of stuff. Doing it, maybe a project like that, or maybe exhibiting in Florida or New York, something like that.
I think what Tim's trying to get at there is more of the experience thing. Do you know what I mean? For example, mine would be, even though they're heartbreaking all the time, I'd love to go see Ireland playing a World Cup. I just think that'd be really fun. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That'd be up there. Yeah, maybe that's something that I need to focus on, actually thinking like that. Everything I think is more, there's not enough, I don't know, they're not dreams, they're kind of just realistic.
Yeah. It's all very business. Even your one thing to do in your life is open another business, which is okay. Fly a plane, or but like, okay, no, I think we got that one.
Yeah. I'm living the dream anyway. Well, that, like, I kind of am.
Exactly. So but it's just something to think about. So maybe keep that in mind. One thing to do before you die. One thing to do daily that you're not doing now.
One thing to do daily that I'm not doing now. Right. Well, no, I will be when the gym's open. I'll say go to the gym every day and make sure I stretch out my back and stuff like that. But probably, definitely sleep more, or even better. But I just keep not doing it.
Yeah. Is there a day that you could kind of commit to that and say, because I said that you can kind of catch up on it. So like on a Sunday, I get up until 10.
I can. I'd have to teach the kids to not turn on at 7:30. Like, that's easily done at this stage, but I just haven't done it yet. They do still come in.
I haven't had like more than 3 or 4 hours in a row in a month with the new baby, and it is shocking how little sleep you need to function. I'm fine. Like, sure, I almost fall asleep sometimes when I'm feeding him. In the middle, and you got to be on. So
you feel so guilty.
I've got like an audio book on, so I don't drop. I'm just trying to. Anyway, you know what I mean. I'm trying to be a good dad, but it's sometimes the HubSpot note taker comes in here. I'm just going to kick that guy out. So
well, I did essentially. I did that for a year, or not a year, years with the kids, because they weren't great sleepers, and I've unfortunately built up a stamina for it.
Yeah.
And no, like, but the problem is I'm actually fine, but I just know that it's not healthy.
Yeah. I used to be like, I remember like when I lived in the apartment in Kilmainham, I used to think about that all the time. If I didn't get more than 6 or 7 hours, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to not perform well and stuff. And now I'm getting not that much, let's say. But everyone who's a parent has obviously been in that book or in that boat before. So
yeah, my thing is I just there's so much I want to do, and there's so much I can, like, I'm never ever bored ever, because like in that book there, on the time off that we had over Christmas, I was writing a book. So
author as well. Okay, so there's 2 more questions here for the dreamlining. The 2 ones here are: one thing you do weekly.
One thing that I currently do, that I do weekly, or that I should do weekly.
These are goals, something that you'd love to do once weekly.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. Take a salsa class. I don't know. What do something weekly? What are you doing? Meet up with, I don't know. Meet up with Jamie White when he moves back to Ireland once a week or something. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say I'd like to teach an art class, like once a week.
Definitely. All your dreams are really like, just like, that's a one phone call dream.
Yeah.
That's I like these ones though. I think there's a very wise guy who said you got or was it you've got to live with your dreams, don't make them so hard. So
what?
America? No.
Again?
Doesn't matter. Okay, here we go. Last one. One thing you've always wanted to learn.
Always, always it changes over the years. Obviously, when you're a kid, like you don't really think of things to learn. I do think language is definitely like not any specific language, but a different language. Sometimes I feel guilty for never doing that. It feels like I'm missing out. Like like that would open up a whole new world if you knew Spanish or French or whatever, or Irish even.
Yeah.
Uh,
Especially they've got their own.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's so much to that, but probably I love like graphic design.
so you can sell more stuff. Mark.
No, but I paint faster then.
Yeah, and also it's like it does. You get an artistic buzz out of making things. So, Joey,
Yeah,
I get it, but it is funny that it does come back to like just more stuff to sell. I don't know, but that's okay. No, okay, I got it. That was the Tim Ferriss experience there, the dream
yeah.
life. I'd recommend anyone going through those and just kind of seeing where they're at. His idea is that if you can say one place to visit, one thing to do before you die, one thing daily, one thing weekly, and one thing you want to learn, that's in your life, you can do that in 6 months. And that's what
Mm.
his whole thing is, like trying to get what your life goals are in the next 6 months. Learn something. Now, for me, learning a language, I learned Irish, but I'd like to learn Spanish as well.
Mm.
But to learn Spanish, I think you'd have to go live there, in Spain or a Spanish country, which would be kind of cool. Yeah.
Sorry. I'd like to play a musical instrument.
Which
like,
one?
I don't mind either the piano or the guitar. The guitar.
I almost bought a banjo the other day. Again,
I was just gonna say that.
I don't know. I saw it on someone on TV playing. I'm just like, wow, it just looks like something that you could just kind of sit there on your own and get a lot out of. It's kind of, I don't have.
Did we see Brendan Gleeson down Dunleary Pier by himself playing the banjo?
We saw him busking down there. He looked like you'd give him a penny.
Yeah, but he was happy to do it. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think maybe that might have had some influence on me, seeing the contentment that he had playing the banjo. But something that I might get back into. I got a banjo when I was 17. I never actually played it or did anything with it, and then I sold it when I was going to Las Vegas because I needed a little bit extra cash when I was 21. So I'd like to get that back if I can. So we'll see about that. Okay, so one of the next kind of framework that we're looking at here, and remember today, the listeners that are listening today, I want them to just kind of pick the framework that seems good to them and go for it, or do what I did, and I made my own framework because I couldn't find one that was really kind of sticking with me. Before I jump into that, have you done some of your goals for the year, some of the highlights? I know that you probably have a lot of them, but what would be the kind of highlight ones before I jump into the LCLD, which is the Luke Curry lifestyle design matrix?
Yeah, well, I've broken mine into. I wrote them out the other day actually. 7 different sections.
Okay, 7 sections.
Yeah. Now I won't overly go into them because it's quite a lot, as you can imagine. But so number 1, like in order. Maybe not in any particular order, but definitely the first one, obviously, work is Darwin Hawkins and what we're going to do with the business. I'm not going to go into the strategy, in much detail or anything, but look, there's plenty of projects on and big goals for the year as there was last year. So that'd be number 1, takes up most of my time. Art is number 2, what I'd like to do with that. Number 3 would be passive income, what I'd like to do with that.
How do you kind of, just not to interrupt, but how do you think about a passive income? Do you kind of try to pin that to a percentage of what your monthly costs are or something like that, and saying, okay, if I get 20% of my bills, or I'm just interested because I was trying to work out something like that for myself as well.
No, I think it's kind of unlimited, like the amount of passive income you could possibly have. So I think you should really not limit yourself to say, look, I'd like $1,000 a month passively coming in, because there's people making 15 grand a month passively. Like, fair enough, they're doing that full time now, but like this, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
The problem, like it's quite, there's a learning curve. Once you got that, it's literally monotonous, and it's volume approach, and you just have to do a lot of volume of it. So the next one is, so that was number 4. No, what did I say? 4. No, sorry, that was 3. So 4 would be the kind of passion projects, which would be SharkPod would be one of them. I've I've little things like a kids book. I'd like to do a kids book at some stage, and mentoring. I'd like to mentor, just kind of give back, mentor, whether it's a young entrepreneur or young artist or whatever.
Cool. That you could even do like a competition for that, or like a landing page and stuff. And if you wanted to,
I was thinking of doing. Yeah, even I could do a prize of like say whatever a grand or two, and have a big competition and just do it annually and just get a lot of people involved, and just
might be a good way to build a gallery as well, kind of Irish young up and coming. To get into the Baker Gallery, you got to win this. Put a little bit of razzmatazz behind it.
Yeah, there's definitely plenty of ways you can go with that. 5 would be health, gym, diet, stretching, sleep, that kind of fresh air written down here.
Is there are they kind of like broad ones, or is there any kind of ones that you're saying, okay, I want to be this flexible. I want to be able to touch my toes with my.
I want to be a supple leopard.
I remember you bought the book. Yeah.
I can't find that book, and it's really annoying because it was about 60 quid. Becoming a Supple Leopard by, I think it's Kelly Starrett is his name. Basically, that along with help from a friend kind of not fixed a slip disc, but basically helped me work around it, move better. I know where I have to be at. Basically, I want to be at like the stretching is to do enough, be able to really be flexible enough that I can lift heavy weights essentially comfortably. Essentially, what that is. So it all goes hand in hand. The diet, again, too much sugar, too much wheat, and all that kind of stuff does inflame your back, and makes you stiffer and sore. So when I'm on a kind of paleo 5 days a week, you feel much better. So there's no specific target, but I just know what to do, and I'm not trying to, bench, 150 kilo or anything.
And a lot of this stuff seems like you're kind of like the goal for a lot of this is kind of stay on the path. That's the goal, but at this age, what you're doing. You said you're living the dream anyway. So a lot of these things are, things that, but you just want to make sure you're consistent.
Yeah. Sometimes I think like, oh, maybe I'll go try pack on 2 stone of muscle, like just because it gets boring sometimes. Just
I'd love to do
that. maybe that's a challenge that we do.
Do that.
We get good supplements.
Why don't we do that? Maybe 6 months in the year, in summertime. We could do just kind of a weight gain thing where we can see how much muscle we can, or just how much weight we can gain. I'm trying to game the system because I know that.
Maybe we can get what's that doctor friend of yours on?
Dr. Toney Huge. I've been reaching out to him. I would love to get him on. Like if you're listening, Toney Huge, hit me up. He's a great guy. So anyway, okay. So what's the last one?
Sorry, so that was number 6 would be new skills, like learning the language or graphic design type of thing.
There's no why there though, is it?
What?
The language stuff. That's gonna fall off.
Yeah.
There's no why. Why here?
Oh no. That was actually just an example. Sorry. That's not actually a goal. Like learn Spanish in a year with all the other stuff I'm doing. No, I think it's gotta be graphic design. I'm gonna get a proper tablet, and like that won't be a huge learning curve for me, but it'll be a game changer to do it, quick. Even the SharkPod thing, like if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a design there of the SharkPod logo. I had to paint that out freehand, scan it up, send it to a friend of mine who's a graphic designer to turn that into a graphic, so that kind of stuff. And look, I enjoy it. Stuff to get, and then number 7 is just stuff I need to get done, which could be stuff like, sorting out pension, investments, saving a certain amount of money, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's kind of some big stuff as well with the pension stuff we talked about with Michael Houghton about. I've got some stuff in my little bag of tricks as well, and the Luke Curry lifestyle design matrix. So let's have a look there. Like a lot of those, I'm going to come back to Mark with next week. I want to put some numbers and put some meat on those bones. Just so
too much. I decided it's too much in mine. Just looking at it here, what I've written down. So I just know there's too much.
What Toney Robbins just said is live with what you're not going to do. Go through everything, cross out something, put the stars before, say these are the ones I really want to focus on, and that's what people need to do. Like sometimes when I'm at my most effective in work, I start work at before 7 a.m. usually, and I say, what do I want to do today? I have like 2 things that are highlight ones, whether that's getting a contract signed or whether that's meeting with legal to make sure that I can get X, Y, and Z over the line because I've got a negotiation on Thursday. That's all I have to do today. If I do that, that's going to move the needle.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think like the timeline is important though. Like if I say, look, I want to teach myself to be at a good level at graphic design, right?
Yeah, or Spanish.
I'm gonna leave that. I know I'm gonna leave it towards the end of the year. Like the book, I wanted to write a book on how to give a best man speech. I did that in essentially a week. You know, I drafted it out over 3 years. I had it 4 years. I had this thing drafted crappily in Word, and then I realized it was on my list, 2020 list of things to get done. I said, right, I'm gonna do it, and I did it in a week. So I put a timeline on it. Like
timeline's so important as well. Okay, cool. So the Luke Curry lifestyle design thing here, and so I've broke this into 4 areas, which is body and mind, community, family man, and business financial. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go through all of them here. I've sent you the.
Just mine sound very clinical now after listening to yours. I want to spend time with my family and help charity and everything.
Now that I'm a dad, I've got this whole other perspective. My mind has been altered in a massive way. It's really strange. It's been a really interesting experience. Just like how my mind has changed to the long term. That something's going to be there beyond me, legacy. It's crazy, like, but that's kind of coming into it as well. So all of my goals, I try to make sure that they're all stuff that I can control. So it's not sell $1 million worth of professional service, like I said, or things that are out of my control. I want things that I can actually put my my full energy into. So some of the highlights for body and mind: 80 sea swims a year. I live beside the sea here. Love swimming in the sea. Always feel at like peak experience when I leave, when I get out of the sea. Right? I should be doing that a lot. 80 sounds like a lot, but I'll swim most days during the summer for 3 months. So that would be like 60. I just have to mix in some colder ones.
How would you track something like that? That's it's probably not worth counting them, but like
I've got a Garmin watch that I turn on when
okay.
So for me, it's really easy. So I've got a Garmin watch that does the GPS for sea swimming. So it's kind of the upgraded version. So I can literally pull that at the end of the year, show exactly how many I've done, how many meters I've covered. There's something you feel elated after it. I don't know what it is. I think a lot of people in Greystones feel like that. I also got a dry robe for Christmas. So I've gone down that way. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do 1 to 2 half Ironmans. I've got one scheduled in Barcelona in October. And I've got one that we're going to do kind of on an annual basis with Coach Alex, in August. And that ties into one of my other community goals, which is to raise money for Ron McDonald House out there in Crumlin Children's Hospital. So we're going to do a big fundraiser at work. We're going to try to get more people to do that, the Greystones half Ironman with us. And
Very good, yeah.
Well, that's something that we can really, there's nothing stopping us from doing that. And I think I want to be really specific with what the money goes to. Recently I was in the hospital and there was one of the pieces of equipment was donated by Clongowes College, like the secondary school.
Yeah.
I thought that is, you can hang your hat on that. Let's buy them something. What do they need? Or, so like for Ronald McDonald's House, for those people who don't know, it helps people with long-term sick children stay closer to their children. It's like an apartments kind of in and around the hospital. So, they can always need new stuff or more equipment or whatever. So I don't know exactly what they would need, but maybe we can talk to them and say, okay, if they need 10 grand. First.
Yeah. I know the CEO, Marion Carroll, yeah?
I didn't know that, Mark. That might be a handy one to kind of connect.
Yeah, no, we'll have a chat with Marion. Yeah, like every year I kind of donate something. They have a ball and stuff, but like there's different ways of raising money, and the more unique, the better, and the more specific. I think it just kind of, and people then they just do great work in general, but people who are supporting and donating, it just gives them an idea of what impact it could actually make.
Exactly. So it's something that I think will be. I've never done any charity or anything like that really in the past, or like organized anything. So I think that would be really.
It's not easy to raise money. You know what I mean? Like but I think you'd be good at it because you're good at being a salesman as well.
Exactly, and I think like I do have access to a lot of well-paid people in my network that have extra, are lucky enough that they're not so affected by COVID that they, some people can't trim off much.
Yeah, and look, charities have probably suffered, more than anyone in the last 9 months.
Exactly. So that's something that I really want to get done. I'm going to do about 100 weightlifting sessions or body weight sessions if the gyms are closed. Read 4 exercise or nutrition books, so like 1 a quarter. Read more Buddhism books. I'm reading this one right now called Why Buddhism is True. Richard Wright, I think it is. It's an audiobook. Love books on Buddhism. Always find it like really, really helpful. I don't know what it is about that. It's such a broad topic as well, and people have different takes on it. Some of the ones that we've had, or one of the ones that I read recently as well, was Confessions of a Buddhist Atheist.
I've heard about that one. Yeah,
So many of them, and it's just kind of I find it really really interesting. So I want to read one of those once a quarter. I've never read one and thought that was not worth it. More of that in my life. This is again body and mind. And then one of my things is if I'm in a situation where there's like a gourmet pizza, I'm going to go ahead and eat it. So
okay, yeah.
If I'm out somewhere and it's the place has great pizza and it's Tuesday, I'm not going to pass that up. Life's too short. I love pizza. I'm going to nail that. Okay, so I've made that kind of decision there.
Yeah, I can see what you mean by that as well, because when we did that, whatever it was, sober October, sober from unhealthy food essentially. I think it was it's Kim's birthday in October, and we went to like Bits and Pizzas or something, which is open again in Dunleary.
Yeah,
technically open for delivery. It was just ridiculous. I just said I can't not have a pizza. Like
exactly.
And it was like the end of October as well, almost there.
It's something that I'm just not going to be so strict about, because overall, if 90% of what I'm eating is good, it should be fine.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I like that.
So if it's something that's really good, you really want it, have it. And then so that there come my body and mind ones. Community. So Mark, I've been in Greystones for 2 years, and I don't think I've met more than like a handful of people here.
Really?
So I've put a number of meet 50 new people in the year, as in get to know their names, whether that's somebody who works in the shop down the road.
I know how you can sort that out real quick. By
put that in a very threatening way, Mark.
By going to doing the sea swims. It kind of goes hand in hand. To go with the happy pair twins, and
I can do that. Yeah, get involved with those people.
Yeah,
that's kind of a nailing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, and Stephen promised to come on the podcast as well, so we can try get him on.
Exactly. I've got the dry robe now. I'm one of the gang. That was something that will keep me out. But I was
speaking to someone the other day. They said they saw somebody with a dry robe on, and their dog also had a dog dry robe on. That's next level, isn't it?
Next level. And so that's something I want to do. Whether that's also, if this is something that goes hand in hand as well, I want to join a club here. I'm thinking I'm going to join the tennis club because it's kind of low impact. It won't really affect the Ironman stuff or the weightlifting stuff. I can kind of go when I want to go. Some of Katie's friends are in there as well, so I get to meet people there. They run events and stuff when COVID's all gone. So I think that'd be kind of a good way to meet.
What is it? Sorry, say again.
The tennis club.
Oh, okay, very good. Yeah,
I've never played tennis before, but it seems easy enough. I'm just gonna play or whatever. So I'm not going to the Davis Cup anytime soon, but it's something that's local, and I think at any age you can join.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So that's my community stuff, which I'm really interested in for this year. I'm going to focus on that. I've got one in here for Family Man. Some of these are just like very kind of high level, like call my mom every few days, make sure, because some weeks I just kind of I'm busy. I don't really get around to that. Spend say 40 hours a week with my wife and baby doing different things, making sure that we have that kind of quality time as much as I'm working. Do you like it away?
Yeah, I'd say that's a lot easier now though that everybody's working from home and stuff like.
Exactly. But it's something I want to make sure that I kind of keep on top of. Another one is have 4 weeks of holidays, like actual holidays, like away from the house, even if it's in Ireland or whatever. I want to get that and maybe have a 3 week in that. So somewhere go to Connemara or something or wherever. I don't really, to be honest, I really don't care. Kerry, whatever. But have like a 3 week off work completely. I really like doing that. So I'm going to make sure that I'm, like Toney Robbins says, I'm going to schedule that now. So it's going to be in July, say, or whatever.
Yeah, it's hard to book stuff at the moment, but I think anything in the summer, I'd go ahead and book it, like, and just hope for the best.
Okay, so this is kind of a very specific one, but I'm going to be make sure that my son is kind of growing up in a Irish language positive household. So we've got this thing called the Toney box. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
It's very in toy right now, Mark, in the baby space. So it's basically like a box, and you buy these little figurines. So we've got like the Lion King, and you put the figurine on top, and it tells you the story and sings all the songs and stuff. It's really cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You can't break it. You can throw it around and stuff. So we've also got one that has all of like the Irish songs. That
About your black and tans and all.
No, not really those ones. The ones that are well, I guess some of them are kind of slanted that way anyway. Some of the tone, it's the tone thing, But anyway, so a lot of these Irish songs that you'd learn at school or whatever. So I'm going to learn those songs as well, so I can sing along with those. And it's not just Katie, who's a Gael school teacher, who knows. Yeah. So those little things. So I'm going to make sure that it's a very positive atmosphere that way. I know he's a baby now, but it's never too early,
Yeah.
Okay. Last one, business and financial. Continue to build a down payment for my son's house 20 years from now. At the end of the year, I'm going to have enough in his investment account in DeGiro. It's already set up. I'm halfway there already. Given really pessimistic view of what the market will do over 20 years, he'll have probably 50, 60,000 euro for a bit down payment on a house in 20 years. I'm going to have that done by the end of the year.
I think everybody should try to do that. Like
a gift. What a gift! And I can't. Not everyone can do it.
I know, but like, just you can always do something, and I most people don't, but I just think that's such a crucial part. Well, it certainly is in 2021. A crucial issue right now is
housing
and rent, being ridiculous.
It's been an issue in Ireland for 1,000 years.
Okay, so it's not going to change.
Not going to change, like so.
Well, it might change a little bit because of the working from home thing is a huge game changer.
It will definitely help, as in you can live further and further from big cities and stuff like that. But I want him to be able to live where he wants.
Yeah, or even just not to have that as a controlling factor in what he does when he's in his 20s.
And you know what? He might not want to do that. He might want to travel the world with that or whatever. Like I said to my wife earlier, if he wants to do that, he can get a fucking job and pay for those struggling. Waste my money on that. No, it's okay. So we'll figure that out afterwards. My point is, at the end of the year, I'm going to have enough money set aside that he'll have a down payment on a house already. And then there's a few here. 100 episodes of the SharkPod. Really want to commit to that. I'm excited about we don't even know the people we're going to meet over the next year. It's going to be amazing. Do you know what I mean? The people last year was fabulous. I think we're getting our reach is getting further, more downloads, more people listening, more ears. I think we're going to get great guests this year. So I've got a lot of ideas about that. So get to 100 of those. Grow net worth by 25%. I think I track this every month, and I did 57% last year, and that was a kind of a down year.
Yeah.
So if 25% is kind of like reasonable, I want to risk up every investment decision. So if I'm investing my time, if we're doing something, for instance, right now we're really focusing recently on my own merch by Amazon business. So how do we risk that up? Is it me putting in a couple of thousand for advertising, or how do we get some kind of skin in the game there? So everything I'm thinking about this year, I'm gonna think, how do I risk that up? I'm gonna do it in my own business and in HubSpot. I want to do it when it comes to raising money for the Ronald McDonald house thing. If I want to raise 5,000 euro, I'm going to raise 5,000 euro from people in work or whatever, or I'm going to actually do that myself. I'll give the money.
Yeah.
Okay? So they're going to get that whatever. I don't know what the money number is, whatever. But risking up things, I think that's something that
That's a great idea. Yeah, just that example is actually a perfect example.
Yeah, so it's going to get done either way. And the last one, continue investing, but that's kind of automatically set up. So I don't really have to think about that. And that's kind of it. So they're my goals for the year. So I know there's a lot there, but I think people even listening can see the ones that I'm more passionate about, the ones that I have a bigger why. The one with anything to do with the baby is a big why for me. Anything with the charity thing, I really want to make a contribution there. And then, if I get 75 swims in, I just put that in because I know it will make me happier.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Anything that you can include, and it's a habit, or it's just a recurring thing that you actually don't have to put too much thought or effort into, that's great, because then you can actually focus on the ones that are actually, you're going to have to go out of your way to do, because you're not going to get, if you had to go out of your way to do 10 different things, you're going to do 20 of them,
Exactly.
or 2 of them.
And so we're coming towards the end of our goal setting 2021 area here. What do you think, Mark? Do you think that the 2021 is going to be a big year? Are you positive, negative, indifferent? What do you think the outlook for 2021 is generally?
I think it depends on what you do, and depends on what you focus on. And I think there's a lot of unknowns, but there's a lot of knowns as well. Like what areas did well last year? What mentality did well last year? Was it reading the news, getting involved in arguments, all that kind of stuff, giving out to other people for what they're doing wrong? Or was it just actually focusing on yourself and your family and your business, and pivoting if you need to pivot, adding something on if you need to add it, getting out of something if it's a debt, like, not that if I owned the pub I'd get out of that game, but like, I feel so sorry for them. Like, I'd certainly be looking at something else as well, at least. So if you're clever, I think it could be a great year. Yeah. I think the world has opened up for sure. I wouldn't really be looking at Ireland, as we said it before. Like, I mean, what can you do globally from your room? I think people would be mad to just focus on Ireland. So yeah, I think the world has opened up. I think we're locked in, but the world has opened up through online. So I think definitely stuff online, getting involved with Amazon. If you can't beat them, join them. Just using YouTube as much as you can to learn anything you need to learn. And
it's amazing. You can learn anything online for like €15. I took a course in Salesforce developing, just to see to really get a grips with the competition, and I could get a job doing that now. I think it was €30 for something like 80 hours. like I don't know it's so amazing. You can do anything you want. So that's why, like, I'm so excited about 2021. I think it's going to be our biggest year ever. I think we're going to do amazing things. I think that if you spend your time arguing with people about vaccines and stuff like that, which there's no better boy. I'll argue with all later, and I can get into weeds there,
But at the end of it, are you any better for it?
If you're going to lift weights, or you're going to learn a language, or they're definitely going to be better off for it. So
yeah, focus on things that you can control. You know what I mean? You can do all that kind of thing, and it doesn't matter if there's COVID or no COVID.
I think you should learn Japanese so you can speak to your daughter when she lives over there. Okay, so there's a couple of other things we might put in the show notes that we didn't get to today. There's a couple of things like around goal setting. There's one that I really like by Grant Cardone. It's called "Get Your Money Right." So he's like, life's hard when you have money. It's impossible when you don't have money. So, you kind of thing. Another one that I really like is Patrick Bet David's what's your next 5 moves? So I know that's not really goal setting, it's more of a strategic thing, but it's really kind of fixing an outcome maybe a few years from now and saying what's the 5 moves that I'd have to do to get there. So whether that's whatever. So say if it was me, if I wanted to start a software business, the next 5 moves might be go work for a small one as an executive, get to know who their investors were. So that's step 1 and 2. Pitch to those investors. That's number 3. Number 4 is make sure you've got the dream team to get the company together to when you raise money. And then step 5 is going live with that. I just made that up. But you know, having that type of 5-step mentality, I don't think anyone's doing that. People don't even know what the next step should be.
No, because they think like they often think it's so hard to actually get there, to overcome everything, to achieve the final outcome, that they don't even want to think about it. It'll just make them feel bad. You know, think about the outcome, reverse engineer it into small pieces. Maybe each piece isn't as bad, isn't as hard as you thought.
Some of the highlights of today, like some of the things I'm really excited about from our conversation is one, the something to do with the young artists galleries. I mean, that's I think opening a gallery would just be fun. Do you know what I mean? If you could figure it out financially, I think it's a great thing for like the ego and ego is the wrong word, but the kind of your so people know you. What would you call it? Like publicity. Say if it's in Stephen's Green or something. If it's a gallery on a more prominent floor than a different gallery that's also there, you know, people will say, "Oh, that's Mark Baker's gallery." Do you know what I mean? He also owns a financial recruitment business, a t-shirt business, doesn't sleep, and learns Japanese.
No, I think that's something eventually that might happen. But what I would want is not to worry about the financial side of it. You know, it would have to be a complete passion project for it to actually work. And then, you know, if it makes money, it makes money. If it can sustain itself, you know, that'd be great. Or if it can promote other young artists, you know, that would be good as well. But the thing about doing creative things like that, you know, it actually takes away when you're actually worried about trying to make money with art. Like you end up selling out, you end up doing pieces that you don't enjoy doing, and it kind of stunts your creativity in that way. So it could turn out to be a crappy gallery that just sells, you know, pictures of, you know, your dog or whatever, whereas you actually just want to do what you love to do and something really impressive that people are actually going to stop and say wow. And then, you know, maybe, you know, you sell 500 prints of that amazing painting. You know, if the painting sells, happy days. If not, who cares, you know? Absolutely.
And our boy Mesa would agree with you. I remember that we were talking to him about that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's leave it there for today. I think 2020 is going to be great. I'm really excited about that. We're going to like focus on what we can control. There's going to be things this year that we can't control, you know, things shutting down, all that type of stuff. But I think there's light at the end of the tunnel for this. So I think it's going to be a great year. Thanks for everybody for listening. And I think the call to action today is to use one of these frameworks, Google goal setting frameworks, lifestyle design, whatever. Or if you're like me and you can't find one that works, take 4 items in your life that are important to you. Figure out where you'd like to be a year from now, and then just re-engineer it, I think.
Yeah.
Write them down. Share them with people. Let them know.
Yeah, that's a big one as well. Yeah.
Put some skin in the game. Bye.